into my eyes and show me your adventures I haven't seen. Taking all the life, it hits the spot. Walking on fantasy. So take me, baby, take me to a state of mind.
My question for you today is, why do we do things that we feel in our hearts are wrong for us? Why do we do things that we know in our hearts are wrong? And what I mean is, you might be in a job that you hate, you might be in a relationship that at best is mediocre, at worst is abusive, you might have a toxic family situation, you might have friendships that really don't serve you anymore, and yet we continue these behaviors, we continue to stay in that job or that relationship, we continue these patterns even though we have this nagging voice in the back of our head all the time telling us that we should leave, that we should move on. Now, sometimes we engage in self-destructive behaviors and we have no idea, we have no conscious understanding, and that is called self-sabotage. And I made a video about that, and I will include it, I'll link it to this video. But other times we are very consciously aware that we no longer belong in a certain position, that something is no longer good for us, and yet we continue. And my question is, why? And I think that the three main reasons that I've discovered are: 1, convenience or familiarity; 2, fear; and 3, obligation. Convenience. You might be in a relationship, for example, where you've been with the person for several years, maybe you've built up this life together, you share the same friends, maybe you have a house or you have children or whatever. You don't really like each other anymore, your sex life is dismal, you fight all the time, but it's convenient, it's familiar, it's what you know, right? Or you might have a job that pays you really well, and you're sort of in these golden handcuffs where you hate the job, but it's very financially comfortable. And I can give you a bunch of other examples, but the point is that when something is familiar, when something is what we know and what we are used to, we tend to stay in it even though it's not good for us, even though we have this really strong sense that we should be doing something else. And it's really important that you stop and ask yourself if familiarity and comfort and convenience is driving you down a bad rabbit hole that you don't want to be going down. The second reason that we do things that are wrong for us is fear. Second reason we stay in situations that are bad for us is fear. Fear of what? Fear of what it would be like if we were no longer in that situation, right? We are always afraid of what we don't know. We're always afraid of what we don't understand. So if you take a big leap of faith by quitting a job or setting a boundary with certain people or not engaging in certain behaviors anymore, right? If you change the landscape of your life, it's gonna be a little bit scary. And that fear is a very strong motivator in a lot of our decisions. That fear keeps us from achieving our highest and best potential and keeps us in a stagnant position where we're repeating the same behaviors over and over again, expecting a different result. And what you have to do in that situation is lean into the fear, accept that it's gonna be scary, and make the change anyway. The third reason I generally find is obligation, right? Let's say you have a really toxic family situation. You feel obligated to them, and that makes sense. You feel a sense of loyalty. You feel like, I can't cut these ties with my dad or mom or brother or sister or whatever, even though I have a terrible relationship with them. I can't distance myself from them because they're my family. Or you might feel that way about your significant other. You feel this compulsion to continue on a relationship that is no longer serving you because of loyalty. And what I would tell you in that situation, when you feel that obligation, is that nobody owns you. Just remember, saying yes to someone else should not mean saying no to yourself. Remember, don't set yourself on fire in order to keep other people warm. And ask yourself, are you staying in a bad situation even though you know it's bad for you because of fear, because of comfort, or because of obligation. And I encourage you to break those chains and get out of it. Let me know if you guys have any questions.